Hi and welcome to Jared's Academy. Our session today is about graphing a quadratic relation using these 5 steps from a vertex form. To find the direction of opening, which is the very first step, we look at the value of a, the coefficient of x squared. If it's positive, opens up. If it's negative, opens down. So in this case, since it's positive, it's opening upward. And the second step would be finding the y-intercept. How do we determine the y-intercept? We substitute in the given equation for x, 0. So let's do that right here. So we have y equals 2, bracket open. We substitute for x, 0, minus 1 to the power of 2 minus 8. So we apply BEDMAS here. We do the brackets and exponents, then multiplication and adding and subtraction. So we have negative 1 to the power of 2, and negative 1 to the power of 2 is positive 1. Positive 1 times 2 is 2. Subtract 8, which equal to negative 6. And that's our y-intercept when x is 0. You can also call it a point on the graph of this equation, 0, negative 6. That's what y-intercept means when x is 0. So to determine the x-intercept, vice versa, we let now y be 0 and we solve for x in the equation. So we substitute for y 0 and we solve for x. Positive 2 bracket open x minus 1 to the power of 2 minus 8. Now to solve for x, we have to go from outside to all the way inside in order to isolate for x. Meaning that we have to bring the negative 8 the other side of the equation first in order to get this by itself. 2 times x minus 1. So it'd be positive 8 on the other side of the equation. Then our next step must be to get rid of the coefficient of the bracket, which is, in this case, it's 2. So we divide both sides by 2. So we have now 4 equals, bracket open, x minus 1 to the power of 2. Now, our third step would be to get rid of the square. How we do that? We have to, the opposite of squaring is square root. So remember that. To get rid of this, we square root of both sides. So we have plus or minus square root of 4 equals to x minus 1. And the very last step is to isolate for x, meaning that to get rid of negative 1, we bring it the other side of the equation. So here we have plus or minus 2 plus 1 equals x. What that means, to find the x-intercept, plus 1. To find the x-intercept means plus 2 plus 1 and also negative 2 plus 1. That's what the plus or minus means. So we have x equals 2 plus 1, comma, negative 2 plus 1. So in this case would be 3 and negative 1. And that is our x-intercepts. And please make sure to follow the steps properly. If you don't understand, rewind the video and look at it again and practice. Practice makes things perfect. If not perfect, almost perfect. So I'm going to erase this part because I need space to draw the graph and do the rest of the question. Complete the 5 steps. So we know the x-intercepts are negative 1 and 3. Always write it from lowest to highest. Get used to this habit is always good for the later on activities or lessons and higher grades. So the next step, number 4, is to find the equation of axis of symmetry. Since this relation is already in vertex form, we know that the vertex would be 1 and negative 8. So that's the vertex of this relation. Now, to prove that the x-coordinate is positive 1, the x-coordinates of the vertex, which is the equation of axis of symmetry, you can add the zeros and divide it by 2, and it should match the answer. Because negative 1 plus 3 is 2 divided by 2 is 1. What is your optimum value? It's the y-coordinates of the vertex, which is negative 8. You can substitute this back in origin equation for x1, and I'm sure you're going to get negative 8. Is it, in this case, is it maximum or minimum? In this case, must be minimum because parabola opening upwards. If we're to parabola opens down, then it's maximum value. So you have all this information now to graph. And like I said earlier in my previous videos, if you want more points on this graph, substitute for x any value you wish and solve for y, and I'm sure those points belongs to that graph. So what we do now, we're going to set up our graph, and we have this right here, the xy plane. So the y-intercept will be -6. So -6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm just going to estimate right here. And we have the zeros, or the x-intercept, as -1 and 3. And the last step would be our vertex, the turning point, 1 and -8. And parabola opens up. Hopefully I can get this accurately, almost, if it's not accurate, very. And the turning point, the vertex, we said it's 1 and -8. Because that point is -8. And this is how we graph a quadratic relation using 5-step from a vertex form. And I'm hoping that this was useful and productive for yourself. Please don't forget to practice this particular example a few times once you learn it and apply it to your homework. And don't forget to please subscribe. And if you have any question, leave it in the box below, the comment box. And till next time, good luck.